and welcome to another episode of Podcast Locked In. I'm David Birch, one of your hosts, and I'm joined by Captain Bacon Soda Jack Keatley.
You alright?
and Aaron Critchley, who's returned
It is
after his
indeed.
experience with the bad prawn. How you doing?
Yeah, afternoon. Jesus.
We had to get that one in there, mate. You know, it's such a response from you were missing from those couple of shows, so we had to let listeners know that everything was okay.
False.
Yeah.
It's all false, whoever's listening.
No, it's not.
It's all shenanigans.
Yes, it is.
But it's been a few weeks, isn't it? It's been like 4 weeks since we recorded the last show, but I've had a lot going on, so I ain't had time to record anything. We've been playing one
Got a
game
lot
pretty
to
much
talk
between a
about.
lot of us. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, we usually go into this opening bit where we talk about what we've been playing, but that is just standard Titanfall really, isn't it? And a few arguments about MMOs, but we'll get to that later, I suppose. Okay, now everybody's chatty today, aren't they? Blimey.
It's been 4 weeks for Rusty.
That's it, man. Shake it off, man. Well, we'll dive straight in with the MPD sales then. For March, it looks like out there that everybody assumed that Titanfall was going to smash it and sell 10 million Xboxes, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It says, I mean, what we were reading, it looks like you've got 7 million PS4s sold through. Well, Sony announcing now that they've had 7 million PS4s sold through to customers, whereas Microsoft are saying they have shipped 5 million consoles to retailers, which means quite a lot of those are pretty much on the shelf still. The one good thing about it is Titanfall in March, that topped the charts, beating Infamous Second Son up there, but I think that was pretty much a given the amount of hype that Titanfall had, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised with the delay with Titanfall on the 360 as well. I kind of surprised when they pushed it back. And I was actually surprised that it even came out for the 360. I would have thought they made it an Xbox One and just PC exclusive, just so they could push more sales through for the Xbox One.
To be honest with you, I think they just held it back on the 360 to try and squeeze as many Xbox One hardware sales out of that prospect as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
That's
But
a
if
typical business
I
move,
wouldn't have
really.
even brought it out on the 360 at all if I was looking for Xbox One sales. I would have just left it on the Xbox One and just eventually all the people would jump on the hype and the bandwagon and buy it.
Yeah, people might just jump back though, but is that 500 quid's a long shot to go and grab a game that you might not like when you can just spend like 40 quid
Yeah, true.
and just play it. And by all accounts, the resolution's obviously a bit different. I know I said the evil word resolution, but essentially those games play the same, and they're as stable as each other on the 360 and the Xbox One versions.
Yeah.
That's
My
quite
mate's
surprising
still
with
rocking the
Xbox
360
nearly
and he got Titanfall, like. And
Huh.
as playing on both, like there's no difference whatsoever. I mean, even just graphically, it doesn't look much different. If you've got a decent TV, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
it does
about-
look strangely freaking familiar. It's like I said a minute ago, it's weird that it does look so familiar because the Xbox One's like what 8 times more powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure why they look so similar when you would have thought the Xbox One version would look much better.
To be honest, I don't think Titanfall takes the Xbox One. I mean, there was all this hype about it being like the big thing and all that, but I really don't think it takes the Xbox One to its limit whatsoever. I mean, just even graphically, Halo 4 had better graphics and looked a lot crisper and nicer than Titanfall does. It just looks
I don't
a
know
bit...
about the frame rate. Halo 4 was nice graphically, but when it came to the frame rate, I think it was a little bit behind.
It had a bit of
Yeah,
judge
but
I had
to
a
it,
lot of
didn't it, at
problems
times?
that did Halo 4 online with the frame rate.
Yeah,
in
but
my
in
opinion.
all fairness, the frame rate in Titanfall, it ain't great sometimes. It
No.
doesn't like they don't match well at all.
It does struggle in there as well. I mean, especially when you look at number 2 on the MPD list, Infamous Second Son. That game does look amazing on the PS4. I mean, I've
Yeah,
been
that
played
graphic
through
looks...
that game. It looks sweet as the sceneries and the day-night cycles and things like that. The game looks brilliant, in all honesty. But that's probably what's getting people drawing them over to the PS4 because at the moment it is a graphics powerhouse. You know, it might not have many games, and the indie games are definitely going to carry that platform
See,
through us. But
that's
go
where
on.
I don't base my... When I'm buying a console, I don't think right, one's 1080p, the other one's probably say 900 or 720 or something like that. I don't base it on that. I just base it on what games I like, what games are good, what games I'm familiar with, and go for that. I prefer gameplay more than I do with graphics. Like, and even some of the games coming out now anyway is starting to become 1080p on both consoles. So I think in the next year or so, I don't think it's going to matter about the 1080p. It's going to be
No,
the
it won't.
frame rating and the type of games that are coming out, the
But as well,
exclusives.
Sony got their messaging right. That's why the PS4 is pretty much a runaway success. But I mean, we'll add
Yeah,
that. If you look at where we're at, how long these consoles have been out, both of them is the PlayStation 4 is doing exceptionally well, and the Xbox One is still a success. They're still two of the fastest selling consoles that have ever been made.
the
So the
Xbox is
demand
still
for
only in a few territories though, ain't it?
yeah, they haven't branched out into the other areas, so I think that'll have like an effect on the overall sales where you think it might. But you know, there's a lot of internet hype and oh, the Microsoft are the devil, and you know, it's very hippie and indie to be a Sony fan because they're all for the fans, but they're both evil giant corporations, and Microsoft's rich and Sony isn't. So it's like you know, be careful of the devil that it does. That's the way I look at it. They're essentially the
Yeah,
same. They
Microsoft
want
has
your
got
money.
a whole lot of money to put behind Xbox if it falls behind.
Yeah, and the appointment of Phil Spencer as well, I think that's going to have a massive effect on how that's going to operate over there.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I thought that was probably the best appointment they could have made with the new head of
yeah,
Microsoft.
like I tweeted out, he's the least corporate of all the corporate guys over at Microsoft, and he's for the games as well,
Genuine
which is
gamer as
good.
well, ain't he? So
Yeah, he seems to know his stuff. I mean, I heard him on a couple of shows, and he's definitely a good appointment over there. And I think
I
he's
read,
going to drive it forward, but it's going to take a good 18 months to 2 years to really see the fruits of his labour. He's still picking up the wreckage from the last guy that was running the show.
yeah,
But yeah, we may see a changing in the guard when it comes to sales figures, but this generation cycle, the highest selling one looks like it's going to be Sony. You know, you're not going to have a lead
yeah,
every
more than
single
likely.
time. You know, last gen it
Be
was
interesting to see
Nintendo.
what Fable Legends has to offer. The new Halo games, Quantum Break. I think they might be something special on the new Xbox.
Yeah, Remedy games are always good, just for the development studio, but also the Alan Wake games. Alan Wake I thought was a brilliant game. I love the way that game played out and the story of that. Very complex,
Yeah,
but there's lots of little silly nuances in there that really. It was one of those few games where we talked about stories on previous shows. Remedy delivered a story that I could immerse myself into, so I'm looking forward to see what they can do. Really am.
yeah. Plus there's
Yeah.
Gears of War as well, which we haven't talked about in the previous shows, I don't think. So that's that could be a game changer.
When's that due?
I'm not sure.
I think
I
it's
think
in
it's
the
in
early
development.
stages. I think
Like,
I, when they announced it earlier on this year, I think the new Gears of War is. I think it's probably still on literally on board. I don't think we'll see that until maybe possibly the end of next year. Could easily be the start of 2016. I think that game could be. That's just my
Mm.
prediction on that one. You know,
yeah,
play
I'm
big.
not sure. I
You
don't
know,
know. I mean, apparently Microsoft got some major news at E3 as well. It's going to apparently be the biggest E3 they've had. That'd be interesting to see what that's about.
yeah, we all joked and said that Jet Trenton's going to walk out. Well,
I
yeah,
don't
that's
think
going to happen.
that'll affect sales. Yeah, it's got for me. That's got to be a game. That's got to be either a new franchise that's going to be massive, or it's going to be an existing one like Mass Effect or something where they say it's an Xbox exclusive.
Hmm. Yeah, well, but they'll probably paid a couple of billion over to EA to make all their games exclusive.
Yeah,
I doubt
I
it,
mean,
but you never know. You wouldn't put it past them.
there's
Microsoft's
a
got
lot
a
of
big enough purse to buy, you know, the MPD charts, buy the games. Then that's how you win
yeah,
it, isn't it?
there's a lot of casual gamers out there that'll just buy the console based on games. They don't have a clue who Jack Tretton is or anyone else is up, like Phil Spencer or anyone. They'll just go out there and buy the console and what games are available for it. So I don't think that'll
Hmm.
have a massive effect. If it did, I don't think it will.
You
I'm
do
sure
have a
it'll be a
tipping
game.
point. I think you're right with that as well, but you do have a tipping point when it comes to what console people buy. You've got somebody who sat on the fence for a while, the more PS4s that are out there, that generates more and more sales. So if you've got
Yeah.
Billy Joe who's never had a console before, what, and he's going around to his mate's house and he's got a PS4 and he's playing with other mates from school on the PlayStation 4, he's going to get the PlayStation 4 as a games console just so he can play with his friends.
Yeah,
It's very
probably.
similar to what happened in the 360 era
Well,
with,
that didn't
the
happen
Call
with
of
me.
Duty phenomenon. Yeah,
All
but
my
you're just
friends had
stubborn and
PlayStation
different, aren't you?
2s, and I had the Xbox original because of Halo. But eventually I did get a PS2.
Yeah, eventually it did, but I mean, the general consensus is if you haven't got a console and you're going around to your mates and you're seeing the one they play, you're probably going to buy the one that they've got so you can play with them
Yeah,
online
that's
and
true.
stuff like that.
I
Well,
mean,
we
I
didn't, when I was younger, I didn't have it wasn't as popular online, so that was based on my decision. But
Yeah, this
um,
generation's different.
this
But
generation,
Critch,
it's just everyone's online.
what are you going to say,
mm,
Critch? We heard a
just
word
saying
from you.
about the whole console thing, and like I got introduced to the Xbox, the first one, when I was young, and then as you said, like through school and what have you, all my mates had the Xbox, so obviously I kept going with that, and now it's got to the point where some of them have got PS4s and some of them got Xbox, but because
Yeah.
I've been playing on the Xbox for all these years, I'm sort of like, I just don't like the PS4. You know, it's just the look and feel, and especially the online just doesn't do it for me, I think. But it's just what you're used to, I suppose. Got
Yeah,
a point with your,
it's
your
Yeah,
also
yeah.
friends
what
having the console and whatnot.
it's what I was. I mean, you're one of those point in case what I've said about an ecosystem. You're not necessarily buying a new piece of hardware. You're buying into that ecosystem. You're just going into the next generation of something you're familiar with.
Yeah,
Because we're creatures of habit. And that's what's happening. So I think what we've got now are the core people that are going out there and have abandoned maybe their Microsoft brand because of the mismessaging that they put out last year, and they've jumped over. But if Sony and Microsoft get their marketing right, there's a new era of gamers every generation, and they've got to position themselves right to target that. So it's going to be an interesting battle. But the one thing with the MPD sales are saying are it's a good time to be a gamer because there's a lot of rivalry, there's a lot of consoles being sold, which means more investment into the games as well. So we should
Yeah.
see some wicked new IPs come in. But speaking of new IPs, well, not quite so new IPs, is Borderlands have announced that they are coming out with a pre-sequel, a new game that will be set after the first game and before the second one, which will be on one of the moons.
Huh.
We'll have Handsome Jack running around there. But the
You can play as
downside to
Claptrap.
this... Yeah, one of the Claptraps in there, isn't there? But one of the downsides of this is we're talking about like the new consoles being sold. This game's coming out, but it's only coming out for PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah, that's a strange one. That reminded me of GTA when that came out. I would have thought they would have waited a year and brought it out on the best consoles rather than bringing it out for the console that's about to become the second best. But yeah,
Mm.
it's still a strange decision.
You see,
Because
for me, though, Borderlands could be a cash-in. It's not the actual team that made the others. This has been handed over to one of the Australian branches over at 2K
Yeah.
in order to put this together. I mean, I was talking with a couple of people online about this, and they seem to think they said it's bigger than the first one, but not as big as the second one. And the general consensus is this could well be like, hey, let's squeeze some cash out of this because there's like 150 million, as I call it now, old gen consoles out there. They've got more chance of reaping in a massive amount of sales than on 12 million next gen consoles that are out in the world at the moment. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're really taking away from what fans
Well,
have got, but I was hoping for a next gen version of Borderlands to be announced quite soon.
yeah, I was the same. That was one of the games I looked at when the next gen came out. Looked for see if it was in development and a release date for it in 2015, or didn't see anything. But a little bit disappointing that it's going to have 360 and PlayStation 3 only, because I would have liked that on Xbox One. But yeah, I think Destiny will be that type of game for me.
The big exploring one.
Yeah.
Because Creech, you've never played any of the Borderlands games, have you, if memory serves?
No, not touched them at all, to be honest. So I mean, I can gather what they're about, and roughly sort of how you play them, judging about what other people have told
They
me,
are good
and
games.
how open world and stuff like that, and whatever. But I don't know, just haven't appealed. I don't know if it's because it wasn't a massive game. Because to be honest, the games I normally get, I don't normally buy anything that's sort of just all right. I kind of just go for the ones that are hyped up and which ones are going to be sort of the the next
A
big thing,
bandwagon
so to
gamer.
speak. Probably, yeah. I mean, you can call me that, but that's just what it is. Like, I'm looking forward to the big titles coming out, like Halo and
Yeah.
Destiny and all that sort of stuff, and Elder
Yeah,
Scrolls. But
you definitely missed I think you should have got Borderlands 2. I think you would have enjoyed that. I mean, you would have.
one thing I do
It's just
agree with you though is the fact that it was kind of annoying they did bring GTA out on the 360 and not the next gen when there was such a close gap between the release dates. As like, it just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
It's
No.
money though, isn't it? It's the amount of units that will be sold, and I think as well over there at Rockstar, they've been making that game for so long. I bet that they were halfway through original development before the dev kits for the next gen machine showed up, and the amount of money that they had investment into development, they probably thought, hey, we'll look at that maybe for the next one or a port later on, but let's just
Yeah.
focus on the consoles that we were aiming for when this went to like
Even
proof of
if it had came
concept.
over to the Xbox One and PS4 as it was graphics wise and that, I still think it would have reaped in huge sales.
There's a whole thing about netcode though, isn't there, with the online side of things? They would have built that game up from how the
Yeah.
PSN worked and how Xbox worked online. But I mean, there's a lot of people have said when that game gets announced for the PC and there's a PC version, on the
It's
horizon,
easier to
that,
port over.
yeah, there could be a next-gen port just down the road from that as well. So, but the thing is
I
though,
hope
could you
so.
really sit there again with all this stuff we're talking about? Could you
I
really
wouldn't play
find
the
yourself
single
sat there?
player again
I would
with it
though. If I was buying it, I would.
because with GTA I'm not really a fan of the single player. I like the online
Same.
part of it.
Yeah, same. That's what I'm all about.
I mean, I
The
will play the
online
single
side of
player, but
things.
as soon as a friend comes online or something, and they put GTA and that's it, single player just gets
That's
so
I get off. I couldn't get off multiplayer when someone came on. Like, I'd be on
Yeah,
single player for like 10 minutes, and then someone would come on, and I'd be straight on multiplayer. And it was just, I didn't have time to play single player.
yeah,
I see. I dealt with the single player before the online went live, before that
yeah. I got about
catastrophe.
3/4 of the way through it, but then when the online came on and we started playing that, I was one of the lucky ones to sneak in before it was having its problems.
Yeah, me too.
But
The
then I
one
was
thing that,
unlucky because my character got reset
the one thing that
across the
ruined
servers.
that game for me, and I'm sure we all know about what happened. Everyone gets online, and you sort of want to get the best cars and all this online and show off and that. But then when everyone started hacking it, and in all these lobbies where people were given like billions out, and you'd just join a lobby at random, and you'd be given like $1 billion, and it
Yeah,
Oh, have we lost Critch there?
yeah. I don't think bit of technical difficulties.
Only slightly.
Yeah, well, I think I know the point he was making about the people handing out money and everything, like all the huge amounts of money. It did spoil the game slightly, but
sorry about that, disappeared there
I
for
up
a
his back.
second.
I'll let him finish his point off.
I'm about to
Sorry,
say.
yeah, as I was saying, basically when everyone got all the billions and stuff and you bought everything and then you had everything, it sort of it got boring really quickly,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and it took them that long to fix it and reset everyone, because people were boosting ranks and everything, and as soon as someone got a tank, or even two people who were mates got a tank, it just ruined the game for everyone because they just chased you out and ran blowing you up, silly. But the amount of time
yeah,
it took them to reset everything and sort it out, by the time they'd done it all, they reset it, and everyone just got bored by then. And I mean, all the mates I used to play with had just completely got rid of it. And the fact they took all the money off you, it's sort of, and you'd already had.
Critch is having some killer problems today, isn't he, with his line through to us?
yeah. I'm not quite sure what's happening with him.
I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you get when you're recording like this situation, but I'm sure Chrissy will be back any moment. We would play some interesting hold music, but I'd probably scare everybody's head from that one. He's chatting away right now. getting on his bandwagon about people not being reset quickly enough with online games. But no, I agree with what he was saying anyway. They did take him a long time to get around to actually fix what was wrong with that game.
Yeah, and I didn't like the fact that they brought in the as they call it, the cheaters lobby,
Yeah,
which
where
was
you
I
like,
thought was stupid
get
because
accidentally dumped.
say if you destroy someone's car on that by mistake and you
Mhm.
destroy too many of them, you get put into a lobby with loads of other people like that. But the thing is, that's what GTA is about. That you're supposed to go around blowing other people up and having fun and destroying other people's cars and having little clan wars. It's not about just driving around being careful and stopping when the when the light goes red and doing all that. That just takes away the fun and the original
The
base of
idea
it.
of
Anyway,
Yeah,
as
I
I've
thought that was
reappeared.
stupid. And
yeah.
he's back again.
Yeah, don't worry, I've sorted it out now. We're all good. Basically, yeah, just like the fact it took them so long to sort it out, and they didn't put any precaution. Well, obviously the security in that they did for the game clearly wasn't good enough to stop people from hacking it. Even on it's on a 360, man, and people were still putting, boosting lobbies and all sorts up. But I'm not saying that you should, stop all the red lights and all that sort of stuff and play
I
quickly.
was
I
just
mean, it was a good laugh, everything blowing up and what have you. But
yeah, but
it just got
when you
silly.
blow someone's car up, say you're being chased by someone that's trying to kill you, but not necessarily
Mhm.
your vehicle, or blow your vehicle up, and then you throw a grenade or something so you can get away from it. You blow their vehicle up, you get cautioned, and then after so many of that, you get put into it was a dunce lobby or something. I can't remember what
Yeah,
it's
you
called,
had
but
a silly dunce
you
that
get a
on,
hat, and I
'cause
was in there for ages because I blew someone's car up by mistake. Like I was in Xavier Davis's car, and he jumped out the car and left me in the passenger seat. My bloke took over the driving seat and it went straight into the water, and it said I'd blown his car up, and they put me straight into
Yeah, but that's
the lobby
there
with it.
because if some irritating, you know, someone really annoying is just like completely camping you and doing it over and over again, it's going to really annoy you and you're not going to want to play the game. So they need something in place to stop that from happening so you can at least get to a
Just
point where
go
if
to
they
a
do
different lobby.
disappear. Yeah, but everyone does that. Every lobby you go into eventually had a guy bombing around in a tank. And it
Yeah,
was
they
that's
just
should have
like,
what
tried
we
to make
do.
like they should like be able to set lobbies up where you can choose what you want. Like if you want people to drive around in tanks or something, or
no, you see, I don't think they should have. I like the fact that it was all you go in, you don't know what to expect, and if you select certain settings where you can't kill one another or something like that, it just becomes a bit
I
like
suppose just
too
going to a private
safety.
lobby.
I was a
Yeah,
fan of the private lobbies towards my end online with that game.
Yeah, 'cause we used to go
Private
around
lobby
killing
and
the
invite,
police.
yeah, and get everybody in there and then just try and do all the missions and stuff that you could without the hassle.
yeah,
Because agreed, when the tanks and the attack helicopters showed up, I was like, forget this. Because it was just, it became so repetitious. It wasn't like it was a random event. Oh, look, there's a tank. I haven't seen one of them in ages too. There's another
Yeah, yeah.
tank coming around the same
Then the
corner.
jets, and then the helicopters, and
that's it. Like when
Yeah.
I first started playing, there was no tanks whatsoever, and when there was a tank, it was like, wow, that dude's got a tank. He's like level up, and then eventually near the end, it was like there's like 5 of them in every game.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think they dropped the ball with that one. But like we say, with the next gen version, that may come over. I should be quite interested. But we completely digressed away from Borderlands. I was going to say. But
Yeah,
yeah,
So,
have you guys still got your 360s? Is the game consider
Yeah,
picking up, or are you just going to sort of leave it for the official Borderlands 3? What do you
I'll
think?
probably leave it to the Borderlands 3. I mean, I've got my 360 now with games that I still like Halo and Defiance and Skyrim and that. And
And Disney's
to be honest,
Magical Racer on the Dreamcast.
yeah, I haven't played. I completely forgot what I was going to say now. You've lost, you've,
You've got your games
you've
you want
lost
to dip
me.
back into.
Yeah, I've still got those games to play. So it's although it'd be a good game and everything, I don't really want to spend another £40 on a game on a console that I probably won't play as often
Get the
because I mean
yeah, 'cause
Elder Scrolls is
your
coming out in 2 months'
ecosystem
time.
again. Your ecosystem has moved on, hasn't it? Like we were saying, everybody you know now is pretty much on the Xbox One playing Xbox One
Yeah,
games. That's where
plus
your
the
main area
the games
is.
that are coming out for the Xbox One in a few months' time will probably keep me occupied and busy. So I don't think I'll have time to play that anyway, even if I wanted to, because the game I mean, Destiny and Elder Scrolls are going to take a lot of my time up.
Mm.
They
And
they
there's
are
Halo
games
and
that you
Evolve,
just
which I'm really looking
play
forward to.
all the time, and you need to play all the time. Especially Elder Scrolls Online. We'll get
Yeah.
to that in a bit because it's going to be a good
Yeah,
conversation in the end.
there's going to be a big debate, and I might just sign off while you pair battle that out.
Yeah,
But one game I'm going to just bring up
I will
quickly
win.
that I'm actually excited about that only a few people seem to be talking about is Alien Isolation. You know, it's a single-player survival horror game that's coming out, which is being published by Sega. Now, I think everybody got burnt by Aliens Colonial Marines, so everybody's a
I
bit
liked
worried
Aliens
about
Colonial
this.
Marines.
But it wasn't what it was said on the tin, though, was it?
No, the
It
graphics
was
were
a
a huge
hack job.
disappointment. They just
And
completely misled everyone with that.
Exactly. So I know there's been a bit of doubt about what these guys are doing with Alien Isolation, but I mean, this is a single-player survival horror game set in between Alien and Aliens. You're playing Ripley's daughter,
You see,
Haley, I believe.
yeah,
And that to me, with it being like one alien on the station and the stuff they're saying they're going to be doing with the AI, the way the alien has basically got its own intelligence and how it will react to what you're doing in that world, and the suspense of it and like the art direction they've gone down on, that is one game I'm actually really hyped for in 2014.
I think it looks amazing. But, you know, like you said, single player and horror, so that's me out of there.
But
If it was mu-
that's the
if it was
danger of what we're
multiplayer.
heading in. If you look at the list of games that we will talk about, and we're going to talk about on the upcoming shows, it's all multiplayer and this and that. But are we starting to that be the only focus? Because I think we're going to start missing the trick of the art form about a wickedly presented and delivered single player experience, like Bioshock Infinite.
Oh,
So many people didn't bother with that
Yeah.
because it was single player only. But
I
I think
like
it's still one
single
of the
player
best
games, but
games.
it just depends
Same.
what type of single player game it
And
is. If it's a scary game, then I mean, I remember playing Silent Hill Homecoming, I think it was.
oh
And after
Christ,
5 minutes, what?
that game's just I'm think I'm going to agree with what you're going to say.
After 5 minutes of playing it, that was it. Dashboard, take the game out, put it on the shelf, never play it again. Because I didn't even get to see any monsters or anything on that. The only thing, I was walking down the corridor and then this person just fell out the roof, hanging by his neck on some rope, and that just completely. Well,
I tell you, talking
Freaks.
about single
I don't know
player,
if I can say
and
the
all
word,
of
so
us
I'll just. But I think
all of us loving single player. I mean, everyone loves a good single player campaign. But what on earth is Titanfall? That is like that is like the worst
campaign on that.
campaign in the world. It is
I don't think it's
absolutely
meant to be
awful.
It's
Yeah,
the
but they
just
embodiment
wanted
of
to
when
show
you get
some backdrop, didn't they?
you get a single player game. We on the last gen we were used to single player games with a hash job bolted on multiplayer. Titanfall was a next gen game which was multiplayer based with a botched on sort of story mode.
Yeah, I think the story mode is just there just to give people an idea of what the background and the story of Titanfall is.
But it's
To be honest, I
awful.
didn't have a clue what the hell they was going on about when they was on about it. And those little cutscenes in the top right hand corner every time you're playing a game just put me off and got me killed.
Mhm. Well,
It's
we'll
basically
keep,
just some.
we'll
Sorry, go on.
keep the Titanfall debate for the autopsy special that
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
got coming up, boys. We've got like a big
That's just a
panel and
sneak
all sorts.
preview.
Sneak preview with the rants that are going to be coming for that one. So we'll hold back on Titanfall because we missed that ship when it came out 4 weeks ago with conflicting schedules. So when we have the autopsy show, you can rip that campaign to pieces just like I'm gonna. So let's call an Alien Isolation. You guys are going to be getting this horror single player game next gen?
I don't know.
Next gen
I
single
mean,
player horror.
a really dark game with aliens that I'm scared of. It's got intelligence to it. It's going to be pitch black. I don't know. I'm not really liking my chances are slim, to be honest.
You play that is going to be one under your bed. Is that the worry?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror games unless I'm playing with someone else. I mean, if they bought my preferred Alien game was like Colonial Marines, but they completely ruined that. And
I
think
remember.
everyone.
Can I just relay this story about Aliens Colonial
Yeah.
Marines? And I was playing it with you and one of our other friends. When you're walking through the sewer bit and you've got all the messed up, twisted aliens.
Those
from
Michael
the,
Jackson aliens,
Yeah, the ones that are all juddering around and moving.
or doing
we
the
were all
Thriller.
we were all creeping through there, and you were like, "Ah, one's moving, one's moving." I was like, "Stay still, stay still." and we'd all stay still. And then it was a moment of silence, and then you just went, "Do you guys mind if I walk in the middle?" It's like-
No, you didn't.
He
No, you
did.
didn't.
He did.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Which led into sort
That
of
is
like
brilliant.
rapturous laughter. And
Well, it
everyone
was
ended
like-
up getting split up, and everybody was panicking, like, "Watch it! It's moving! It's moving! It's right by
Yeah,
you!"
then
And I remember stopping, and this thing walked past me within like a millimetre, and Keatley was having kittens because of how close it was to me. It was just-
yeah. But
You
when you're
definitely
with
get
other
touched
people,
by
it's fun. But when you're on your own and that's happening, it's I don't know. But yeah, like I was
Disturbing.
saying, my ideal Alien game was like a 4-player campaign, where it's pitch black, where one of you has to hold a torch or something, the other one's get the gun, so you've got a torch and a gun and that's it. Then you basically go through the ship looking for something, or the mission or something like that, where the aliens are jumping out at you and it's just pitch black. And like I say, you've only got a torch, so it's hard to navigate through the ship and all that. But
And
that's
have
my
that-
ideal horror story
and have the
campaign.
game tapped into the party chat so the aliens can hear you, so you've got to be quiet as well. Imagine that. You sneeze,
Yeah,
and
off
your mates
Kinect
are
on or
just not
something.
happy with you. Achoo!
Yeah.
You just killed us, and then facehuggers flying out the walls. That'd be good. But no, Alien
Yeah.
Isolation, that's up there for one of my 2014 games. I am really looking forward to that. It might live up to the hype, it might not, but I'm hoping that I like the single player horror games, and the fact that they put it in, a franchise which I really enjoy. I've got high hopes for that one, but I won't be in the party when I'm playing that. I will play that in the dark, on my own, with my surround sound headphones on, scaring the shite
get
out
that.
of myself. With my curtains wide open, with my big bay windows that look out into the dark city. You're seeing them climbing up buildings and all sorts by the end of that one. But away from single player games, let's move on to the long running debate that's been going on with the people that we all play games with the Elder Scroll Online that's going to be coming for Xbox One and PS4 towards the end of June, and our longingness and our patience wearing thin for our beta codes to come through. But this is one game that everybody we know has been talking about getting, even some unlikely candidates, with the one we call
Yeah,
Bob.
on the past shows as well. I mean, I did say I wasn't going to get it because of the paywall.
hmm
But looking at the lineup of games that are coming out between now and September, there's not really many that I'm going to be interested in. Watch Dogs is going to be something I'm going to have to wait and see how it pans out because. But yeah,
first
Elder
thing-
Scrolls, I've changed my mind on that, and I'm definitely going to get it after watching some videos of it.
The
Go,
first
Chris,
thing,
go.
right, that is going to really bug me about this game. Okay, so it's a massive online role-playing multiplayer game, right? It's huge. Okay, they've obviously tried, or well, I hope they've sort of like taken all the good aspects of all the other MMORPGs. Like obviously World of Warcraft is one of them, and
They
all
are
the ones
saying
that have
that's what their aim was, though. But yeah,
well,
carry
that's
on.
got. I mean, and I'm happy with that, and all the other ones that have gone and passed. Now the thing is, if anyone has played these games before, they're gonna know that you don't just pick it up and play it like time.
Yeah.
It takes time to get anywhere or to get anything good, and the fact is that we're gonna play this for 3 months, and obviously a lot of people are gonna do the same thing because Destiny and other good games are coming out. And I think it's going to be one of them games that you're going to have to play for a long time to get anywhere or get anything good out of it. And the fact that Destiny, it's basically going to be 3 months of play on that game, and I don't think anyone's going to have a chance to get anywhere. And it's one of them where I'm like, just skip Destiny, or do you get it and then shelf Elder Scrolls for later down the line, or
Or just
it's
play
a
them
tricky one. Yeah, but who's got the? I haven't got the. No, well, I know I haven't got the
We'll
time
play.
to play
We
two
could play Destiny one night, Elder
MMORPGs.
Scrolls
There's
the
no
next night.
chance.
That won't happen. I think Chris has got a point with it, and it
Yeah.
bridges a point with what you said, Kenny, about your decided your Switch has come back. You want to play this game because of the lack of games that are coming out for the next gen machines. Chris has played a lot of MMOs online, and as you know, knows the time that's invested in it. Are we going to just not? We're probably just going to get our ankles wet in the content. I mean, my point with it is there are a few games coming out that I want, but I don't play many MMOs. I think the only one I've ever really touched was Defiance, and I dealt with that because it wasn't very rich in content. There was about, 50, 60 hours that you could play story-wise in that, and then it was just a weapon
Yeah.
grind. So for Elder Scrolls, I'm going to have one MMO that I'm going to keep coming back to and smashing
Yeah,
the
that's the
piece
same with me.
periodically during games. But I think Chris is right in saying that I bet he keeps it on his shelf and I bet I do, but other people that we play with, it'll be traded faster than you can realise when they need that extra
Yeah, yeah.
22 quid towards something else. I reckon it'll be the three of us playing it, and the MMO, the world of MMOs has not really come over to, say, people that play Xbox One, which is quite a few people that we know. PS4 and PlayStation, they have quite a lot of MMOs. They've invested a lot of time in free-to-play models and paid models on there. But the Microsoft community that don't really know that have only really played consoles, they could abandon it very quickly. Like
It's basically the
Destiny
first of
comes
its
out.
kind, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, for this type of machine, yeah. And I think you're right, Critch. There could be like a mass exodus come autumn time. Huge in the summer, it'll drop off, and then come the start of 2015, I think there'll be a core audience there of people really investing time. But I bet it doesn't push 1 million people, 1 million subscribers come start next year. I bet it doesn't.
No. I mean, like you say as well, that's the only true MMO that's coming out to Xbox for the time being. So that if we do buy it, that's going to be a game that, well, I'm going to buy it, but that's going to be a game that's going to last, maybe a year until a decent MMO comes out to battle against it. So the
That's the
time,
thing that worries me because it's not the type of game that you just go on to the next version of. It's like people have been playing World of
No,
Warcraft
I'm not
for
about
like
the next
10
version.
years. No, no, I know, not the next version, but a comparison or another MMO of some sort is what you mean, isn't it?
yeah. But what
Yeah,
I'm saying
exactly,
is,
but
this game's no matter what other games come out, this game's probably going to last me for a while, because I'm just going to, unless the Defiance comes out, which you don't have to pay for. I'm hoping you don't have to pay for a new one anyway. If it does come out, then this is going to be my only MMO I'm going to be playing on the Xbox. So it's going to be
well, one thing that I'm worried about is, and I hope it doesn't happen, is I hope it doesn't turn into a battle for, if Elder Scrolls kicks off massively and it's a massive hitter, I hope it doesn't, companies aren't coming in with a new MMO and trying to get the next best thing, because
yeah,
you play it, Elder Scrolls, and you play it for years. It's like World of Warcraft. People bought it 10 years ago and they're still playing it today,
yeah.
Like you,
and
isn't it?
nothing's
That's
really
what
there's
you're
not
doing, aren't you?
exactly on and off. Yeah, definitely on and off. But it's like nothing's really come in to challenge it. I mean, possibly because they can't, because they've got so many subscribers and it's so massive. But I hope that if MMOs on like Elder Scrolls on the Xbox One are successful, I don't want it to turn into a battle of who's going to produce the next best one, because then no one's ever going to get anywhere. The game's never going to have time to progress. I mean, World of Warcraft started off really basic, and now today it's like amazing compared to what it was the first one. The first one is considered to be absolute rubbish now, but I
Yeah.
want it to really progress to what people like. And I know
Well,
one of the pointers that you suggested was the fact that they haven't got raids in it for the first however long. I mean, I've not really looked into that much, but the development that's coming.
they have got PvP on it though, which is similar to that.
That's based on level 50, but the actual dungeon raids where you party up and do like Chris was saying,
Yeah.
that's coming at a later date.
Yeah.
They've got sort of like just dungeons that 8 of you go in and do a few bits and pieces, but raid players like you get on World of Warcraft, they're not in there from the get-go. They come later for like the paying community. Essentially, the people that have got their 330 days, that's your warm-up. They're sort of like, there we go, server's getting balanced. Here's the content that's on the disc. And then month 2, here's what's coming here, and then month 3, that's what you're going to get for your paid content. Talk about the paywall stuff that we were saying, but with games that pay, they have to obviously give you value for money, otherwise people they're going to hemorrhage players. And Bethesda it's a pretty good pedigree of a studio. None of their games have been too shabby, so this being
Yeah.
the first MMO that's coming to Xbox, it stands a good chance of being pretty solid, because of the lore and everything, and people generally know what's, the lay of the land, as
I mean, I
as you
spent
say.
hundreds of hours on Skyrim. If it's anything near that, I think it's gonna be amazing. But like Rich said, he has got a point with the time invested in it. But I think the
Yeah.
3 months is plenty enough time for us to get decent into the game, and then when Destiny comes out, we can just juggle those two.
Yeah, I mean, I look at when you say. I mean, I agree with Critch on the time side of things. There's some of us that put a lot of time in. I mean, I'm up to what, just shy of 7 days total gameplay time on say things like Titanfall. But I don't sleep much. You know what I mean? I go off at 11, do stuff for a couple of hours, and then get up at 3 in the morning and play till my daughter wakes up. So I put hours and hours into games. But there's some people that we know that only come on for like 45 minutes on an evening, and by the time they've loaded up, sorted out their equipment and gone out and to do a mission, that's it, that's the end of their play time. Whereas an MMO, you've got to think, right, I'm going to play for an hour, no chance. You're going to end up playing for 6 hours, and it's going to feel like you've been playing for 10 minutes. That's what these
Well,
are,
yeah.
heavy
It's like one of
investment,
our
aren't they?
friends that we play with, Gareth, isn't it?
The Wolfman.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a game it's going to be hard for Gareth to play this one. It's for him to, because we're going to be so far ahead of him when he comes to join us that it's going to be he ain't going not going to really have much clue what's going off with it.
That's the division between casual gamers and core gamers, though. That game might I believe that game has the ability to bring people that play casually and people that play core together with the party system.
Yeah,
So it might, the disparagement between levels and skill, I think, is going to be managed. I think that was one of the aims of what Bethesda was saying with the console version. It's a simplified system, but manageable for all types of gamers.
I
Sorry,
think
Has
it's just
anyone-
going to be a game that we're going to have to play before we can make any like assumptions about or
Uh,
decisions about how it's going to be with time management.
Has anyone heard of how long it takes to actually get to the highest level? Has there
Well,
any been...
people are level 50 already, and it's only been out since April 2nd on PC. So I think if you put 1,000, you can get there pretty quick. But there's still a lot of quests on that game. I don't think they're never-ending quests, and there's dungeons, and there's the PvP world that you go to when you're at level 50. So I think it's going to be there's enough on there.
yeah, but then once you hit level 50, but there's those V levels or something like that. There's different level system kicks in when you hit the PvP environment, and then
Yeah.
you can go and land in the other worlds, because obviously you have your starting world and you end up in Cyrodiil or whatever it is. Then I believe you can go branching out there and then go and find runes and random things that are only found in certain parts of the land that you might not have been to. So there's a hell of a lot there. I
Yeah.
know there's a few hundred hours at least in the box from when you buy it, because anybody can grind out. I mean, I knew how to grind a character in Skyrim up to like the high 60s quite easily. I think everybody was running, jumping, and like burning bloody mud crabs with fire spells just to level things up, and crafting for 10 hours of gameplay to boost
Yeah, the
yourself up
smithing was
5 or
really
6
easy to
levels.
boost on that.
Everything was like on there as soon as you work the system out. So those people that have probably hit level 50 have just found one route in order to grind a level up and proceed
Yeah.
to do that. Whereas if you want to experience the game and the richness of the world and read everything, study everything, and craft armor, like Chris has explained to me, because Chris has been explaining to me how MMOs work, because I don't
I
really
mean,
play
some
them.
people just get to level 50 to say they've got to 50. They don't even experience half the game. They just go straight for the level.
And you're paying
And
a lot for a game, and then you're going to be paying monthly for it. You need to experience that content. Otherwise,
so
what's
I'm
the
going to be
point?
doing all the quests if I can when I get that game. So that game's going to last me a long time.
Mm. So, Chris,
I
you
mean-
still in? You still in to buy it?
I'm still going to get it. I mean, obviously, because all you guys are going to get it, I'm still going to play it, but it depends what I feel like when it comes to the end of the 3 months when, Destiny comes out.
Yeah.
What happens then? Like, because I might not like it, to be honest. I mean, I've only seen what I can watch on Twitch and YouTube and what have you, but, other than that, it's just, I have to wait and see. And these beta
Yeah.
codes come out in the next bloody 10 years or whenever they release them.
Yeah, I've heard some people. I mean, I've heard rumours on the grapevine that it's starting to pop up for the console versions, but I've had nothing confirmed solidly with that. But I know I haven't had mine, and I am really looking forward to getting my hands on that. Because for me, I want a game because I play a game so intensely when I get it. I think the idea of an MMO for something which is going to continuously every month bring me new content and changes, that's appealing to me because it's different. Whereas I buy a game
Yeah.
at the moment that's got a 10-hour story, well, that's done by Saturday morning after I buy a game. Like, released on a Friday in the UK. That's done by Saturday morning
Trying to get your money's
time,
worth
and
out of
it's
those types
about
of games.
I never do. I never get my money worth. It's money in the bin.
Like Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
it was an amazing story
Hmm.
and campaign and everything, but it just was, unfortunately, it wasn't long enough. The multiplayer wasn't good enough to keep people hooked on it.
3 days, I'd 100% of that. I'd found everything within 3 days of playing that game.
Yeah, I was the same. I mean, even the multiplayer, I probably got bar one achievement. I think got everything on it. So it's,
I need something
yeah, I
which
think you're
is
gonna get your
like
money's worth with
cost
Elder Scrolls. It's
effective.
gonna be a big game, that is, and I think you're gonna get your money's worth. So even if you don't, even if you play it for the 3 months up until Destiny, I think we're still gonna experience enough of it to warrant the price.
Yeah, see, the last game I got my money's worth out of for time was There's the game, and that was called Skyrim. That was the last game I put like 2-3 hours
Yeah,
a
it
month.
was probably
So I'm
Skyrim and
hoping,
Defiant Ends.
yeah, yeah. I suppose Defiance I enjoyed, but I didn't put as much time into it. No way, none at all. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, we'll see how our little ecosystem of online gamers goes along with it as well. Everybody's saying they're going to get it. I'm just wondering how much people are going to invest in it, and I am seriously wondering how many people are going to drop off that we know after the first month and be like, "There's my
Yeah,
30 days. I've seen this tree enough, and I've cast enough spells." It's probably going to be for a select. I bet we lose half of the people we play with that. I bet we really do.
yeah, probably. I think it'd just be me and you and Critcher left. But yeah. Speaking of Destiny as well, just want to mention Marty O'Donnell.
Oh yeah, you want to let everybody know what's going on?
Yeah, he's been sacked without reason, from which he's tweeted out. So
So
not
he's
quite sure
saying
what's going on.
anyway.
Yeah, so he's saying. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. But I've read that he's still a shareholder or owner of Bungie, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that. It's still a bit
My
up
my
in the air.
take on the share situation is you work for a company long enough, rather than getting bonuses and stuff to the games that he's worked on, he probably got share options, which happens in most companies that are publicly floated. So I think what's happened with the news and the media is he owns shares. Just because his contract of employment's been terminated doesn't mean that his stock options have been removed. So I think it's been picked up that he's like a part owner, but a publicly traded company is if you buy one share in WWE, then you partly own
Huh.
WWE. You know what I mean, for argument's sake.
Yeah.
So I think with the share option side of things, they've just sort of like some people have been plucking at that. He's not happy that he's gone, and I'm a bit, his music was
Yeah,
brilliant. I loved
it's a
it in
bit
the Halo
strange. I mean,
games.
he was in my opinion, he was like responsible for the best
He's the best of the best, really, isn't
game
he?
theme,
Hmm.
the best game theme I've ever heard on a game, which was the Halo theme.
Halo
So
2, wasn't it? With the guitar.
yeah, that was just amazing in my opinion. I thought that was the best intro to a game that I've heard.
Yeah, there's obviously clearly something going on. I mean, he won't be allowed. There'll be clauses in his release. I suspect he got a nice big check, but I don't think he's going to be talking about the details anytime soon. It's like
Be
when Amy
interesting
Hemmick left Naughty
if he
Dog.
goes back to 343. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's saying this when the big people leave companies, especially in the game development, because of the amount of news spin. We won't hear the truth for a long time, not until certain clauses have been removed,
Yeah,
shall we say. So, but it's a shame he's gone. I hope, like I say, I hope he goes to 343 and makes Halo 5 or retouches the music for the Halo 2 remake, which I suspect is coming in November.
yeah. I think people downplay the effect music has on games. I mean, when you played Halo 1, 2, or 3, that intro was just enough to get you pumped for playing that alone. Just got you excited to play it before you even put the game on. You was already pumped to play that game and hyped up for it. So I think that. So it's gonna be interesting what Destiny does with their music, who they bring in and all that.
And I don't care what anybody says, everybody was touched by the subtle music tone that was played when Cortana said goodbye to the Master Chief in Halo 4.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Cortana anyway.
Of course not, because you're heartless.
She used to do my head in.
If it ain't a Pokemon dying or a dinosaur being slain, you just don't give a shit. That's pretty much what it is. But that's it.
I preferred it when she was just an AI bot in his head rather than some being what they're trying to make her into.
Hologram projection. I
Yeah.
suppose. I bought into the character. Cortana was with us for a long time on our gaming journeys, though, think about it.
Yeah.
Even though you're about 9 when she
And,
showed up and I was in my mid-20s. So I have more investment in it, but yeah, it's sort of interesting to see where they take that franchise. Destiny is definitely one on the cards where it's to go. Mighty, I don't know. Hope you do well in your future endeavours. But what I'm going to say now, before Katie jumps in there, is with some other things, as we'll say that for another show. We're going to clock off now for this episode of Podcast Locked In before we rage into some of a debate, because it's a nice sunny day outside and we've all got things to do. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me once again.
Yeah,
Indeed.
thanks for having me on.
That's it, man, and I'm sure we'll have a nice raging debate, because as we mentioned earlier on, we're going to have a Titanfall autopsy special of Podcast Locked In that'll be coming in a couple of weeks. We're going to have
Yeah.
one of our guests on, one of our friends that we play online with, who's also big league guitarist in a band with an album that's just been launched. We're going to get him on to chat and debate about all Titanfall things that we can think of. Christy can tear the story apart. Keatley can relive his famous phrase, "No, assist," and then explain what that's about as well when the show goes. The famous slogan that I'm going to get a t-shirt made up for him.
Yeah, the challenge
But,
is going to get ripped
yeah.
that day.
Challenges,
And
man.
so is a friend of ours.
That's it. But hope everybody enjoyed the show. You can obviously go and find it on newfeed.com. Go over there, read the stories, get involved in the conversation. Leave us a couple of messages. Tell us what you think of the show, as you always tend to do. But Keatley, thanks for joining us,
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I suppose. And Critchley, thanks for coming
Coolio.
once again. After the prawn
Indeed.
recovery, you did well, sir. You held
It's
it
all
together.
buys. It's all buys.
It is right. And another thing which is quite random for our listeners is we've discovered that Keatley makes his own homemade saline solution and puts his head in just to keep his nose clear, so when he comes online at night, his
Allergies.
allergies don't go messing him up when he's on there. So I'll just leave that one with you.
The last resort.
We'll get across Keatley's home sort of medicinal sort of toxins that he makes for himself at another time. But anyway, this has been Podcast
It
Locked
sound
In.
like Breaking Bad or something.
Well, that's it, man. You ain't no Heisenberg. But anyway,
No.
this has been Podcast Locked In. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.